I sit in front of a fire at the same place where we made one of our first fire, and that was 50,000 years ago on la Vallée Eternelle. So here, under this great shelter, one of the most ancient sacred places on earth, we shared our first stories and imagined our future. Over millennia, we have always returned here to remind ourselves of where we come from, who we are, to regenerate ourselves as we do when we return to our home. We have called ourselves sapiens, thinking that we know. We have the ability to dream, to imagine new worlds, so we travel the earth in search for a better life. At first, we thought that the earth was infinite, but we soon realized that she was very, very tiny. This is what astronauts feel when they go out in space and see this small blue dot, the Earth. They realize that everything depends on her, and it's a very transformative and powerful experience. Often we remember the value of life only then when we move away from it. This is exactly what is happening to us right now. The wonderful living paradise we knew is disappearing fast, and because of us. It makes us suffer like a separation. But this suffering is a confrontation with the reality, an awakening, part of our initiation that leads to a transformation. And to suffer forces us to look deep within ourselves and to find the solutions to move forward. And these solutions are all registered in our instinct. And they have a reason why. It's to live and to live happy. And this is our master plan. Failure is only a step towards success. On 5 occasions in the history of Earth, life has flourished, but events have caused its extinction. The last time was 70 million years ago, when a comet hit the Earth and whipped out 90% of life, including dinosaurs. Well, today, our perception of the world and our behavior has precipitated the world into the 6th mass extinction we know, and our civilization is ending. But does this mean that it is the end, or is just the beginning of a more intelligent one? During our human journey, many civilizations have disappeared. A civilization has a life cycle, like everything else in the universe. A star is born, it lives and it dies. We live and we die. Our Earth is a beautiful hotel that welcomes us for a short stay. Some of us may have 10,000 nights, some of us might have only 2 nights, so we don't have time to miss on the reason why we're here, to live and to be happy. And transformation is a natural process. The caterpillar eats the leaf on which it stands until very little remains. We have done the same, we have consumed the earth. But once the caterpillar has consumed the leaf, it stops. It starts its transformation into a chrysalis and then into a butterfly, which flies and feeds on nectar. So it's not the strongest that survives, but the one that uses its natural intelligence to transform. So we are now in the 3rd phase, the return. We return to our home, nature. It is the moment of the great reset and the great dream. We ask ourselves, if I had a second chance, what would I do? And the answer is written deep in ourselves, and it's very simple. I would live and be happy. And this is our new master plan. The choice we make, the decision we take today and for the next years will determine the world for thousands of years to come. Wherever we went on the planet, we took 2 things with us, language and fire. And as we traveled through the rainforests, we picked up the embers of fires and sheltered ourselves from the torrential rains. When we colonized the Arctic, we took the memory of fire with us and recreated it in a sandstone vessel filled with animal fat. Darwin considered these 2 discoveries to be the most important for humanity. There has never been a more powerful catalyst than fire in our transformation. Making fire is like a kind of spiritual experience. As soon as we lit it, fire becomes alive. We cannot go back to the past. We must witness the birth of the flame as we witness the birth of our new civilization. It is fire that commands, like nature. We only try to find how to use it, but fire will always control the game and is teaching us humility, the condition for open-mindedness and for our next transformation. So to do something so primitive again, to find ourselves around a fire and reinvent our civilization is just magical. That's why I'm standing here in front of this fire, as a sign that we are united to accelerate the regeneration of life on Earth and use our natural intelligence. Albert Einstein understood that nature is the key to understand everything. There is nothing else. Leonardo da Vinci said that in nature everything always has a reason. If you understand this reason, you no longer need experience. And our reason to be is to live and to be happy. So let's release the codes of this natural intelligence and redesign our civilization. The first code is that we all depend on nature for every bite of food, every breath we take. So we thought we were at the center of the world, while we are a very tiny part of that world. We thought that man and nature were separated, that they were man and nature, while we are just one. Everything we know is also made of water, the air, the soil, and we get the energy from the sun. These elements are the founders of everything. Natural technologies are billions of years ahead of current technologies. Bio-inspiration and biomimicry are already inspired by nature. But the key is to let nature do what it does best, to innovate, manufacture, use and recycle infinitely, and to let us to invent a better world, the highest and most precious form of freedom we humans can have now. So our new adventure is just to rediscover our planet, giving plants and animals the time and space they need to bounce back. In less than 10 years, if we stop intense fishing, the oceans will regenerate. Since the beginning of this message, La Vallée Eternelle has converted 2 tons of carbon into pure oxygens. 5,000 new lives will have been born. Natural intelligence is the wisdom of collaboration. The first cell appeared on Earth and survived because it formed a symbiosis with its environment. It is the first form of natural intelligence. It is a 2 billion years old intelligence. The first cell managed to multiply and create bigger organisms, plants, animals, us, each time because it had the intelligence, the symbiotic intelligence. Then we gathered in community in shelters like this one, in villages, cities. Each time we could evolve only if we were capable of symbiosis. Today, as we have created a global village, our job is to succeed in creating a symbiotic species with nature. We grew up with the perception that only the strongest survive and that competition is the rule. But by thinking this way, we have made the earth no longer a paradise, but a war zone. This side of competition has made us believe that we could be at the center of everything. But when we focus our attention on ourselves, we no longer think about others. We weaken ourselves. The more we take, the less we become. Our energy is directed inward, and we no longer have energy for the others. Our natural intelligence shows us exactly the opposite, that everything is collaborative, everything is connected. If there are 10 of us and we think that the strongest wins, then 9 lose. If we think that the weakest loses, we have 9 winners and 1 loser. The world is transformed. And life has always worked in symbiosis. Chaos appeared when there was no more symbiosis, when we take more than what we are able to give back. We learn at school that the trees of the forest are in competition for resources and light, and only the strongest one would survive. Well, it's the opposite. The big trees that receive sunlight share their nutrients with smaller trees through a matrix of mycelium. Large trees generally lose their leaves in winter and in turn let the sun rays enter and feed the small trees, which are generally evergreen. These small trees then give back to the larger trees the nutrients and energy they have captured from the soil in the winter. The forest uses natural intelligence, and plants are the best model to learn to thrive. Our natural intelligence is unlimited. If we take a book and we sell it, we make some money, but we lose it forever. We lose its knowledge and the possibility that comes with it. And this misperception of how life works has led to our extinction. But if we keep our books, we care for them, we share their knowledge, nature, like a book, becomes a place of transformation, health, food, sport, wonder, education, innovation, and opens up to economic prosperity for the humans and for the biospheres. The most advanced technology and knowledge is in nature because it was created in several billion years of research. And frankly, working on innovation, I prefer to work with a team that has several billion years of success rather than a few years of trials, and I guess you too. So we don't need a systemic change, we just need a better perception of our world. And I'm very optimistic because I know that by changing our perception, we will change the world. By seeing in our head this new living and happy world, we will make it real. Champions know this very well. Before the race, they see their victory, just as we can now visualize the success of our new living civilization. So one day, a man who had bought a lot of stuff to be happy meets another one, and he says, "Well, you know, I'm so happy, I have everything." And his friend replied, "Yes, you may have everything, but you have something that you will never have." The guy says, "It's just impossible. What do you have?" And the friend says, "I have enough." So in front of this little fire, I can breathe, eat, drink, think. So it gives me the power of gratitude. And the power of gratitude, as we know it, is very important. So La Vallée Eternelle is a tiny drops in the world, but it has the natural intelligence, and we can gather it around a simple fire. We all have a little valley in our heart, a memory, a place where we used to play in nature, and we remember how vital it is for us and for our future. Paradise has always been there. We must need to accelerate the regeneration of Earth to rediscover unlimited prosperity. The first cell that managed to live 3 billion years ago made it because it had that natural intelligence. So, we may be smart, but that's not enough. We must now be wise and imagine our new steps, maybe around a small fire. So, imagine a little.